Hey guys, welcome back to part 2 of the Jodi Arias trial. If you have not seen part 1, it will be linked down below in the description box and also up above. I would suggest watching that one before this because, like I said, this is part 2.
Getting up is when he threatened you, right?
Yes, that's when he verbally threatened me.
Given the time constraints here and the fact that you didn't know where the knife was, it would have been impossible for you not to have the knife with you when the attack happened, right? So you did have the knife with you?
I didn't have the knife.
You agree that you're the person who actually slit Mr. Alexander's throat from ear to ear.
The camera actually took 2 photos unintentionally by her.
Prosecutors will later claim it's Jodi's leg over Travis's upper body as she prepares to drag him back to the shower.
What if I could show you proof you were there?
I wasn't there.
Be honest with me, Jodi.
I was not at Travis's house. Was not.
You were at Travis's house. You guys had a sexual encounter. Which, there's pictures.
Are you sure those pictures aren't from another time?
Positive. Absolutely positive.
One shows someone's leg standing basically over, like right next to Travis's bloody body. Put the knife in the dishwasher. She takes the camera, deletes all the photos. Then she puts the camera in the washing machine. I don't know if that was on purpose. I don't know if she was an idiot and thought you could actually wash a camera and it would delete everything. She takes the gun and allegedly the rope that was used and leaves. She meets the guy, ends up even like doing sexual things with him. On the way somewhere, she gets rid of the other gas can and the gun, proceeds to go about life as if nothing had happened.
I don't remember bringing the gun with me, but I remember throwing it.
Throwing it where?
In the desert.
And she pulls over in the desert and starts to concoct her story, starts to cover up her tracks. She washes her hands of blood, she throws away the gun, and then she starts making phone calls, immediately coming up with this cover story that she maintains for the next month.
I truly believe 100%, in my own opinion, that she premeditated this entire murder. There's no way that she would have taken the steps to cover her tracks, buy gas cans, borrow a gas can, make sure to pay with cash inside for the gas in the cans, but be sure to spend a little bit of money at a gas station to show that you bought a little bit of gas in your actual vehicle. Nobody goes through all of those premeditatorial states, is that a word, to commit this crazy crime. The gun from her grandfather was missing, which happened to be the same type of weapon used in the murder of Travis Alexander. The so-called knife that he kept in his room was also conveniently placed at the scene of the crime because apparently she was tied up by rope, which of course was not at the scene of the crime. And she just conveniently had every single thing covered, except for she's a dumbass. She left the camera, which is stupid because apparently she liked photography, like I said a while back at the beginning of this video. Yet she didn't realize that the memory card the police were still able to recover deleted images from the camera on the memory card.
I have pictures of you in Travis's bedroom with Travis.
Are you sure it's me? I mean, because I was not there.
It's you.
Can't even believe that there were actual photographs taken. She accidentally drops the camera, it falls, and actually captures her at the scene of the crime. Granted, it's just her leg, but it's Travis Alexander's body. It places her there. She admits in an interview that she owns those pants. She completely premeditated this this murder. She wouldn't have further pretended like everything was normal.
Jodi decided she would call Travis and leave him a voicemail.
I know Leslie called you, so I already talked to her, so you can call her back if you want, but it's not necessary. My phone died, so I wasn't getting back to anybody.
There's no way that she got there and defended herself, or just literally lost her mind and in a fit of rage killed him, and conveniently had already had all of her tracks and bases covered. That just doesn't seem like a good defense. I don't feel like it was in self-defense. I truly don't feel like that. And if someone is coming after you, they're wet in the shower, she has socks on and pants, because that's what the image showed on the camera that fell as she was murdering Travis Alexander. June 5th, 2008, literally the next day, not even 24 hours after this murder.
And when I drove 100 miles in the wrong direction, over 100 miles, thank you very much. So yeah, remember New Mexico? It was a lot like that, only you weren't here to prevent me from going into the 3 digits, so fun. Tell you all about that later. Also, when we were talking about your upcoming travels my way, I was looking at the May calendar, so I'm all confused.
She gets to visit Ryan Burns, who was a love interest and co-worker at Prepaid Legal Services at his home in West Jordan, Utah. And according to his testimony, she arrived and I guess she jumped on him, made out with him. So basically, after she had her mouth all over Travis, that's all I'm gonna say, she goes and then she spends some time with him, and then according to the police, on June 7th, 2008, she does end up returning the car to the budget rental place. I do think she even said she made it to work that day, but she was late to work. On June 9th, Travis Alexander's friends had not heard of him. I guess the girl he was dating or was supposed to go to Cancun with him, he hadn't returned her phone calls or text messages regarding the upcoming trip to Cancun, Mexico. And so she shows up with her friend. They end up getting into his house somehow, go upstairs to his room. What ends up happening is the two guys go into the room and they find him and they call the police, and that is how his body is first discovered.
Been threatened by anyone recently? Yes, he has. Okay. He has an ex-girlfriend that's been bothering him and following him and slashing tires and things like that. Her name is Jodi.
As police were trying to deduct who this possibly could have been, his friends and family said that he had a stalker, Jodi Arias. She was obsessed with her, that he didn't want anything to do with her, and she would show up at his house. We knew it was her. We didn't want it to be her, but we just knew it was. They found him dead inside of his stand-up shower. He's kind of slumped over. So a state of advanced decomposition suggested that he had been dead for several days. Large amounts of blood were discovered throughout the master bathroom, including on the floors and wall and sink area. And in fact, Jodi left a handprint, a bloody handprint. Like, her DNA was everywhere. It was ultimately determined that Alexander had been shot in the right brow with a .25 caliber gun. The bullet was found lodged in his left cheek, and that he was stabbed, some sources say 27 times. I think in the trial that it was 29 times. It was overkill. So the police did question his family about who could possibly have done this. Who killed Travis and why?
Brothers who are saying that you had become obsessive with him to the point to where you would go into his house when he wasn't there or when you weren't invited. And
to everybody except for Jodi, he was such an upstanding young man. He had a house. He had a great career. He was passionate. Even Jodi said that he lit up the room because she did not tell the truth right away. And on June 26th, investigators were notified that the DNA and hair samples had returned, and they were indeed a positive match for Jodi Arias. On July 9th, 2008, Jodi celebrated her 29th birthday, and that same day, a grand jury indicted Jodi Arias on first-degree murder charges in the state of California. Mesa police and I think it's Siskiyou County Sheriff's deputies arrested Jodi at her Northern California home. They then booked her in the Siskiyou County Jail on suspicion of first-degree murder. On September 5th, 2008, Jodi was then extradited to the state of Arizona because the crime did happen in the state of Arizona.
This is absolutely over. You need to tell me the truth.
Listen, the truth is I did not hurt Travis.
The very next day, Jodi decided to change her story to version 2.
She talked about 2 intruders coming into the house, and they attacked Travis, and they're attacking her, and she gets wounded in the incident, and he's being stabbed, and he's yelling, and he's screaming, and telling her, go to the neighbors and get help.
They didn't discuss much. They just argued.
About what?
About whether or not to kill me.
I don't know who they were. I couldn't pick them out in a police lineup.
She involved herself in the investigation, not only by phone, but also she went down. According to her testimony, she did this, according to her later testimony, she did this because she wanted to find out how much the police knew, if they knew what the murder weapon was, what kind of murder weapon they were looking for, if they had a suspect, did they suspect her, and I guess she wanted to give them an exuberant amount of misinformation in order to throw them off their scent. You know, these seasoned detectives and all. She obviously got rid of the murder weapon, the gun. If she would have also gotten rid of the camera and never volunteered all of this information, I kind of feel like they would have definitely highly suspected her just because of all of the other evidence and who else was obsessed with him beside her. But the camera is what placed her at the scene of the crime. There were other factors that obviously played in. They had a ton of evidence, but without her narcissistic volunteerism to get into the middle, to be the center of this case, I don't know that they would have suspected her so much. The police know what to look for. I don't know why she was thinking this was like their first rodeo or something. No, it was her first rodeo. October 31st, Halloween, 2008, the Maricopa County's Attorney's Office filed a notice of intent to seek the death penalty against Jodi. The notice filed in Maricopa County Superior Court accused Arias of committing first-degree murder in an especially cruel and heinous or depraved manner. December 2010, so Jodi competed in an American Idol-style singing competition at the jailhouse, and she won over 50 other inmates. Hopefully I can find a clip. All on your knees, oh hear the angel voices. And I think she won a turkey dinner or something for herself and her cellmates and a stocking full of gifts. I want to tell you really quick about how I had firsthand contact with the 2 correctional officers at Perryville. So Jodi is staying at Perryville Women's Correctional Unit in Arizona. And when I was in Arizona and I was working at a laser hair removal place, and I was doing this woman's, I think laser hair removal on her legs. And she was talking to me, and she, you know, it takes a while. And she was telling me what she did. And she told me that she was a correctional officer. And I said, oh my gosh. And I think I mentioned Jodi Arias, pretty big in Arizona at that time. And I mentioned that, and she said, yeah, I actually deal with her often. And my next appointment actually is the lady that had referred her. They both worked there. So they had firsthand contact. And she was telling me, I was asking her, I was like, well, what is it like, you know? Because that's a maximum security prison. That's not like if you go somewhere to get a DUI or whatever. That's maximum security. That's murderers. And she said, it's crazy. She said, if people had any idea that their hard-earned tax money was being used at these jails for these murderers. These women had volleyball tournaments, they had cupcake night parties, movie night, games, parties, popcorn nights, like all of these things. She said, it's crazy. They can have DVD players, personal TVs. I was kind of blown away by that. And then the other woman that I treated, I asked her, you know, I said, oh my gosh, you know, so-and-so, I can't say the names, told me that you guys actually have contact with Jodi Arias. And she said, yeah, she said she's treated like a celebrity there, has been from day one. This is all alleged. I obviously don't know. And she's really bitchy, really demanding, really mean.
Arias has continued her arrogant and often aggressive behaviour behind bars as well. Earlier this year, she was denied visiting privileges after she reportedly insulted a prison guard when she was not allowed to get a haircut.
Her defense attorney, Kirk Nurmi, also tried to get removed from the case, but he was denied because the courts figured that if he was taken off the case, a new defense counsel was going to have to take even longer, spend more money, more of the state's money, just catching up on this trial that took years to get to, or in this case, that took years to even get to trial. So the judge made him stay on.
The U.S. attorney says he did his job by keeping her off death row, but reveals he tried repeatedly to be released from her case. His book cover says it all. It's titled, quote, Trapped with Ms. Arias.
A lot of people were under the impression that, I chose Miss Arias as a client, or that I supported what she did, or that I believed her. I had filed a motion to withdraw from the case, and ultimately the judge decided to deny that motion. So I was ordered to stay on the case.
And the handcuffs is the golden because, yes, you were getting paid.
Yes.
Like we said, February of 2011. What had happened in the case more on a personal level that made you go, okay, that's it. I'm calling uncle. I want out of this.
With Miss Arias, it was different. There was always a need for attention.
Manipulative behavior in terms of her interactions with me.
Unfortunately for her defense attorney, I guess he wrote a book without her permission, and it violated the very core of attorney-client privilege, which is something that foundationally our Constitution, our government, our privacy as far as it goes with attorneys was completely broken. So he was disbarred. I guess he was going to be suspended for 4 years, but he actually agreed to retire or get disbarred, one of the two. And now he is just writing this book. He wrote this book, and I guess it's 3 parts, I think. And from what I read, he made a cool $2.5 million. So I probably would have written the book too, I think after that case, he was pretty tired. He did say in certain interviews that Jodi made him very uncomfortable. She would refer to him as her boyfriend. She was super needy. She would have hour-long phone calls, multiple hour-long phone calls with him almost per day. With almost every single person that was a witness for Jodi has received multiple hundreds of death threats online. There's an online mob lynch attack that has happened to these people, including some of the psychiatrists and psychologists that defended Jodi, or at least spoke on her behalf. So then on December 10th, the trial actually began. So basically during the trial, as I said, it's crazy. You can watch it. I can't even begin to try and relay to you every amazing, crazy thing that happened in the trial and every ridiculous thing that happened. And like I said, it is very graphic. It is definitely NC-17. If you are not at that age, I don't suggest you watch it. But Juan Martinez is amazing to watch. On May 23rd, 2013, the sentencing phase began, and it did result in a hung jury. So the judge had to declare a mistrial for that phase. The subsequent jury reached an 8-4 decision in favor of the death penalty. On October 20th, 2014, her sentencing retrial began. Again, on March 3rd, 2015, the jury informed Judge Stevens that they were deadlocked. Arias' attorneys requested another mistrial. On March 5th, 2015, Stevens declared a mistrial because the jurors who deliberated for about 26 hours over 5 days deadlocked 11-1 vote. Sentencing was scheduled for April 13th, 2015, with Stevens having the option to sentence Arias to either life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, or with the possibility of parole after 25 years. So finally, on April 13th, Judge Stevens sentenced Jodi Arias to life in prison without the possibility of parole.
Can you give me a reaction to the verdict, Jodi? Is there anything you want to say to the Alexander family at all? Can you tell me about your plans for what you're going to do behind bars for life?
You guys, if you want to know more about this case, you can go ahead and watch the trial yourself. I'm going to leave a ton of sources down below. But I know if I continue to go on with this case, talking about it, this is going to turn into a freaking 5-hour video, and I don't want to be here that long. But there are a ton of details that I have not included because, like I said, it is way too much for me to cover. I mean, this case is years long, years long. Okay guys, so that is it for this very lengthy, very weird, very creepy, crazy case of Jodi Arias murdering poor Travis Alexander. I want to know what you guys think in the comments down below. She has quite a fan club, I have to say. It's very interesting to see a female killer who is not a serial killer that has such a fan base. And I don't know why serial killers have fan bases, but for some reason they do. And she has one of the biggest fan bases. In fact, there is a rapper that actually wrote a song about her.
It's Lil Jodi from the city of Wairika. Ain't playing like Steph Curry and a death penalty. I wanna talk to you about a girl that I know. Her name is Jodi Arias.
It's just crazy. So I want to know what you guys think. Do you think she was actually defending herself as she claimed at trial from Travis Alexander? Do you think she was actually a victim to his sexual deviances, to being treated quote unquote as a prostitute and a victim of verbal abuse and physical abuse based on the testimony that was given and the facts in evidence? Or do you think that she is just a cold-blooded, calculated murderer that was jealous, that basically had the thinking, if I can't have you, no one can, and basically preyed on her ex-boyfriends, stalked them, and broke into their emails, and basically went to see Mr. Alexander when he decided not to take her to Cancun? She decided to go crazy and kill him, and in the most despicable manner. To me, that just doesn't seem like self-defense. I wasn't there, and I will maintain in all of these videos, if I wasn't there, I obviously can't say what happened. But in my own humble opinion, I think she's a cold, calculated killer. I think she 100% premeditated it. I think the gas cans alone suggest that. I think her behavior after the murder suggests that she premeditated it, she thought about it, she had a plan. I think that she is conniving, manipulative, narcissistic, and she deserves to be in jail. She's a danger to society. I feel like someone like her is very dangerous. She has exhibited behaviors like this in the past, as you can hear from testimony from ex-boyfriends, obviously not to this degree, but hey, every serial killer has to start with one. And God forbid, if she would have gotten away with this murder, she probably could have done it to another man or another boyfriend or a girlfriend of an ex-boyfriend. You never know. There could be more than one victim in this case. I don't know, she scares me. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to always be kind to yourself and others, and I'll see you guys later. I love you guys so much.